Good morning and welcome to Teach Me Bees. I'm your host, Dave Westcott, and I've got with me today Scott the Beekeeper. Good morning, Scott.
Hey, good morning. It's good to be here. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I heard that you want to talk about ordering mail order brides this morning.
You know, something to that effect. When you want to order something in the mail, I mean, we all have Amazon these days, right? Where there's old school USPS. But we don't want to order actual people in there. We want to order bees. We want to order queens and nukes.
Did you not order your wife online?
I did not get my wife online.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to double check. How did you meet your wife?
I met her at a lounge, a glorified bar, I guess, if you will. She was the bartender, more like a drink pourer. I love you. And I would go in there to study and do different stuff because it was attached to a coffee shop. This coffee shop was very loud while the lounge was very quiet. So there was like one person in there. And so I would go in there, get a coffee or get a drink, and
so did she not card you or ID you? When do you turn 21?
Next week. I've been 21 for a while, folks, and no, she didn't. I don't even remember if she carded me or not. I have no idea. I don't remember
that part slipped your mind.
That part slipped my mind. She was too focused on the good looks.
Was it love at first sight for you?
No, she was wearing a mask at the time, so I truly had no idea if she was beautiful or not. I took a chance, and she is.
Huh. So,
moral of the story: go for it.
When you were looking at her through the mask,
yes,
you could see her eyes.
I could.
Were her eyes alluring to you?
Yeah, and it was a little mysterious with the mask on. I was like, I don't know. That's interesting.
You know what I found is that when you see a woman with her face covered,
mm-hmm.
sometimes you can see the most beautiful eyes that you have ever seen. I'm just going to say.
Can you say that about Amy?
Let's talk about Amy on the show. That's a good thing to talk about. I love Amy. She is just the most wife, wonderful person in the world. AMY, don't get it mixed up. And I think that I love Amy very much. And to me, she is very beautiful.
There you go.
And to me, it was love at first sight.
There you go.
I was like, here you go. I was like, come here. Come over here.
Come talk to me.
Come with me. This is it. You don't need to be with anybody else now. Come with me.
How old were you guys when you guys met?
We were 20. She was 20.
Okay.
So the cool thing is that we've been together 20 years.
Wow.
So it's longer than you've been alive.
Not quite. You're funny.
Or maybe you were still in diapers.
Not in diapers, but in elementary school.
Okay, you were in elementary school when we started getting together. Yeah. Listen, man, that was a love at first sight. But, like the bees that we talk about every day, my male hormones are so strong that my male pheromones are so strong that every woman I've ever met has loved me
instantly, like a magnet.
Yeah, I mean, we're on the show. I can speak freely. Every woman I've ever wanted to be with in my entire life, since I was in high school, I have been with. Never have I.
So you're like the queen bee, and all the bees flock to you.
Just the women.
They are women that flock to you, but in this scenario, you also are a woman, which is not a true thing. They go out on their virgin flight, they mate with the drones, then they come back in, and it's pretty much a woman's club at that point. There's a few drones that are in there, and they just kind of eat and are lazy. And then the queen runs everything. But you can order newbies, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Where's the king bee in all of this?
He ain't a thing.
He's not a thing.
Nope.
There's no king bee. So, the thing is that, you want every person that you love to fall in love with you. That's the thing. Want everybody to fall in love with you. So how do you do that? I'm drawing a picture. It's trying to represent your wife in a mask right there.
That looks like a horror movie.
Yeah, that's funny. So you met your wife at the coffee stand. You fell in love. She was wearing a mask.
Yep.
How long did it take you to get married?
About a year and a half.
So you sealed that deal quickly.
Quicker than some, slower than others.
Was this your first true love, or had you had others before?
Yeah, I had others that I was very interested in at various points in my life, but this was the first girl that really fell in love with.
This was your first love.
Absolutely.
You didn't have a high school sweetheart?
I had some girls that I was interested in, like what high school guy didn't, like I don't know.
I had a love of my life in high school. The name that shall not be named on this show. But at the end of the day,
Voldemort.
So your wife was really like the first. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah,
hallelujah,
I wouldn't say the gates of heaven opened up per se, but yes.
For me, with Amy, the gates of heaven opened up. Because, I had this really rough upbringing and this really rough past, And so like when I met Amy, like, she was like the first pure person that I had ever met that I liked.
Mm.
She doesn't drink. She doesn't smoke. She doesn't do drugs. She goes to church. You know what I mean? Like, she has all of these great qualities.
Hmm.
And so for me, it was like, man, this is awesome. And I find you very attractive and beautiful. So, like, man, this is an extra bonus.
Win.
And then, like, a great conversationalist. So
that's that underrated skill.
I'm going to tell you something. Me particularly, I don't like talking to people. I'm more of a introverted person.
Kind of funny we're doing a podcast then.
I know. It is funny. But I'm an introverted person. So like you and I could be driving to California to deliver some bees. Maybe we've got some nucs or some packages or something like that. Some nukes or some packages. And, like we could go on a 18-hour car ride. I could say 0 words to you the whole time and be like totally happy. And you might be sitting on the other side saying, dude, what's wrong with this guy? Is this guy a friggin' alien? Why is he not saying? Is he upset? This is so uncomfortable. This is so awkward.
What did I do? Yeah.
And, and I could just be there like, oh, this is so nice, But the wonderful thing about Amy is, man, she is just such a great conversationalist. She's so intelligent. She's so smart. So what I love is that, I have to go meet people. I have to go to dinner meetings. I have to go to event party, like I have just events that I have to go to for work, and one of my biggest dreads in life, this is true, one of my biggest dreads in life is like, what am I going to talk about with these people?
Yeah.
What am I going to talk about?
Obviously,
oh, man.
Bees, but
bees, we can talk about bees, but that only goes so long, and so like the wonderful thing about her is that when she goes, man, I know she's just going to carry that conversation. She's going to talk about a million different things. She's going to make me look good. She's so personable. She's so fun. She's going to laugh and have a good time. And so, you know what? She makes me better because, like she fills the gaps. I think in any marriage, the thing that's really important is like, what are your shortcomings? Because like we all have shortcomings. And so like the most beautiful thing is like when that partner, I believe this, when that partner fills the gaps and fills the holes and it makes you a better person, but then you're not dependent on one another. Yeah. Like I'm not into the relationship whether on either side where the person says, when are you gonna be home? I thought you're gonna be home at 5. I thought you said you're gonna be off of work. When are you gonna be here? I've been waiting for you for an hour. The show is on. I made dinner. I did this. I did that. Like I am anti all that. Yeah. I don't think on either side of the coin, another spouse should ever be like, dude, you missed dinner. I'm so mad at you. Or, hey, you weren't here. I'm so mad at you. Like back off, like, do your thing, man. Find something to do. I'm busy. You're busy. We'll come together. When we come together, we'll have a great time. Let's not stress on each other about where we're at. Let's not live in this controlled environment. Let's live in this free flowing, free loving. I'm doing what I want. You're doing what you want. Together, we're stronger. Apart, we're amazing. And I like to think that this is how the bee lives. I'm going to say that, like, you know, the bee gets into the hive, the queen, you know, makes the little, she's in there and she's just kind of wandering around, and she goes out and she flies out on her maiden voyage. And then she kind of gets attacked. She gets mated by several bees, or 20, you know, and then she goes back, but then she starts, you know, she starts laying eggs. And then, you know, her queens come around her, and, you know, they're nurturing her, or not her queens, but, you know, her little
attendants.
Her attendants, yeah. They're around her and they're helping her and they're supporting her. And, you know, they're making all of these bee babies. And it's really an amazing thing. She's strong on her own. She's building life on her own. She's doing a great job. The male, he's out there doing what he's doing. What is he doing? He's guarding the front entrance. He's
kind of lazy. Though.
He's attacking some wasps as they come in.
Maybe.
What? I watched a video the other night, because I watch these videos about bees, and there's a Japanese wasp or Japanese hornet or something. I can't remember which, but it's a big orange bee. I mean, it's a monster, right?
The Asian hornet?
Yeah, the Asian hornet. Yeah. And it comes up to the beehive, right?
Those things are huge.
Huge. And it kind of, it's in the front and it's looking around. And it says to itself, I need more of my comrades. So he actually marks the hive, or she, whatever sex it is, I have no idea, marks the hive with its pheromone. And what that does is that actually attracts other Asian hornets, because, you know, they can mark a thing they want to attack with their pheromone.
Interesting.
So now 3 of these giant Asian hornets attack the hive. Now, this was a very strong hive. So the males are out there doing, what are they doing? They get around this thing like they just like enclump all 3 of them. Okay.
They swarm around.
And they just heat this thing up. They're just going crazy. And you know what? They killed all 3 of them.
No way.
Yes, they did.
Wow.
And they took some serious casualties, though. And I'll tell you what, in this video that I watched, When Insects Attack was the show. It's pretty cool. I mean, I'm not kidding you. This Asian hornet, like, he would get a bee and just rip his head off, move on. Rip his head off, move on. They were up close in this thing.
They can decimate a hive.
They can decimate a hive. But you know what? This hive was so strong and so big that it had enough workers to do that. But those were all the male drone bees that were out there to protect the hive. And so what were they doing? They were out there doing their job. They were taking care of the hive. Was the queen bothered? No.
Hopefully not.
Did the queen even know what was going on? I don't know. Maybe she did. Maybe she sucked up in her hive a little bit, hid a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, her attendants. But guess what? They're still working on the brood. They're still taking care of their job and so forth. And that's like life.
Yeah.
And so I think like that's what I love about being married. That's why it's worth it to wait for the special person. Amy and I didn't get married till we were, in our mid to late 30s. We knew each other a long time. We dated a long time, but, we never got married because we were like figuring life out.
Yeah.
How many times people get together and it just doesn't work? Oh, this isn't going to work. Oh, this isn't going to work for me. I'm getting divorced. Okay. Hey, you're not coming home on time. Hey, you missed dinner. I worked so hard making this dinner. I'm going to tell you what. I love you. The dinner tastes the same now, or if we put it back in the oven and heated it up a little bit later. It was still good. I still enjoyed it. And, like, what are we talking about here? And in the age of cell phones, like maybe you're having dinner with. Do you guys have phones at dinner?
I try not to.
You try not to.
Yeah.
But you do.
I mean, we have them. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you ever looking at Instagram when you're on your thing?
Sometimes, but we try, if we're together, we try not to be on our phones.
Okay. So I go out to eat all the time. And here's one of the things I find. So this is my favorite game to play.
Okay.
Go out to eat. I don't bring a phone.
Tic-tac-toe?
I love tic-tac-toe. Only with my children.
Okay.
So here's the deal. Go out to eat. Go out to a restaurant. Don't take your phone. You don't get to take your phone in. You both have to leave your phone in the car.
Okay.
Now, you look at the other couples in the restaurant and you have to guess. Are they married? Are they first date? Second date? What are they talking about? You know, sometimes when you're playing this game, you'll find a couple and you'll be like, dude, she is definitely a hooker. Yes, we've seen that happen before. Or is that a daughter? Ooh, we don't want to cross that line.
Nope.
But it's a really fun game to play. Like,
You're people watching.
people watching, seeing what's going on. But here's what we find. This is the truth. 90% of people who are at the restaurant are, I mean, I'm not kidding you. They're literally like this on their phones. They're looking at their phones. They break up. They have little conversations. The food comes. They eat their food. They might talk a little bit, and then they're right back on their phones. And if they have kids, you know, the kids are all on their phones. They're sitting around the table. They're sitting around the table at this fancy restaurant or maybe this not so fancy restaurant, but they're not communicating. They're not talking.
Yeah.
They're not interacting with one another. You know? And I think it's just a sad, pathetic life. That's what I think. I was in New York on the subway a few years ago, and I was on the subway, and I was just looking around in the subway, and I was just enjoying myself sitting on the subway. I love the subway. And you know that I counted 34 people on the subway train? True story. I wrote a LinkedIn, Facebook post about this, and not one of them was not on a phone, had their face buried in a phone. There's all this life around you. There's all these things happening around you. It's like the symphony of life. You know, symphonies are so beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the symphony. But you know that like life has its own music. The sound of that air conditioner that's behind you in the background. The sound of Ralph moving around in his chair. The clicking of the keys on the typing board. Whatever bug is making a sound in my bag over there. I don't know. Maybe it's my phone ringing. But all of these are the sounds of life. I love it. You go downtown and it's got a different sound, right? There's sirens, there's yelling, there's noise, there's manhole covers. I don't know. There's all sorts of things going on.
Yeah.
You come out to the country and it's a different sound. It's quiet. There's coyotes, there's crickets. You know, there's
Maybe bees.
dogs barking, maybe bees buzzing around. Life is a symphony. And that's what I love about bees. That bees, you know, are really, really important to how we live, but they have their own symphony. Italian bees, they're calm.
Yep.
They're easygoing.
Yep.
They consume
Generally.
a lot of food and have long brood laying season.
Yep.
What about the Russian bee? That's interesting, right?
Yeah. Russian bees are tend to be more aggressive. They have smaller brood laying seasons, tend to be a little bit less susceptible to diseases. I don't know if that comes from an aggressiveness or I don't know. I have some Russian friends. They're tough people. I don't know if it's just kind of in the bloodstream of where you're at. I have no idea. There's Cardinalian bees, also very calm bees, maybe even more calmer than the Italians.
Carnolian bees, where do they
Yep.
come from?
I believe that they are raised in the Alps. That's where they originate from. I believe. Someone could fact check me on that. But they are tolerant of cold climates, but also a little bit more likely to swarm because they grow quicker. So as a beekeeper, you got to be on top of that and just managing, okay, how fast is this hive growing?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're thinking of ordering bees, consider the type of bee that you want to order, right? Like these are just a few. There's a lot more. And in Western Washington, there's, you know, maybe a set of 5 bees that are pretty common. Italians, I think, are the most common because they balance calmness with honey production, with growth. It's kind of like a well-balanced bee. But consider the kind of bee that you want in your apiary if you're starting out or if you're wanting to expand. And there's typically 2 ways that we get more bees, at least from ordering. You could do a split that we've talked about before.
Yep.
But you typically will order either a nuke So a nucleus, just abbreviated nuke, NUC, or a package. Do you know the difference between a nuke and a package?
One is spelled NUC and the other is spelled PACKAGE.
That's very true. That's very true. But
Or I could look at the notes that you've given me.
there you go.
And I would have the exact answer for you. A nuke is a small box containing 5 frames of bees with a laying queen. Frames have drawn comb with some brood already. Bees are genetically related.
That's right. So a nuke, you're getting more or less a mini hive that's hopefully going to expand rather quickly.
Did you say essentially a mini hive?
Yeah. You're getting all the basics, the necessities, but they're not in a hive box. You know, they're not in your equipment and etc. They come in typically a portable box, which you can keep or give back. I would recommend just keeping it. It's good to have extra stuff. And so that nuke hive will grow quicker than a package. We'll talk about a package here in a second. A nuke hive is something that you're going to want to probably buy locally. They don't do as well shipping as, say, a package would. They are a nuke compared to a package. A nuke is more likely to contain Varroa. It doesn't mean it will, but it's more likely because you're already using drawn out comb. And the combs, generally drone comb, is where Varroa mites like to dwell. So you're a little more likely to get Varroa from the nuke hive than you are the package. But that's not a guarantee. And price-wise, you know, that's something to consider depending on how much you want to spend. Locally here, I've seen a price range from a nuke to be anywhere from $200 to $250, just depending on your type of bee and where you're getting it. And like I said, they are harder to ship. So you're going to want to probably get it locally. That's a nuke hive. Some people really like getting nuke hives. Others would prefer to get a package. A package kind of comes at like as it sounds, as a package. It's in this square box with mesh wires on the side. There's no drawn out comb, no brood, so you're getting worker bees with the queen. And from there, it's about 3 pounds of bees, which it roughly is about 10,000 bees. 10,000 worker bees in your queen.
And they're unfamiliar with each other.
Yeah, they don't necessarily know each other. So the queen comes in like a little cage within the box. In that cage, she can be released by the worker bees eating through a portion of the cage that's filled with like marshmallow or something sugary that they'll eat through. So that gives them time to know her pheromones, to acclimate, to be comfortable with her. There's always a chance they don't like her and they kill her. So that's a little bit of a risk with a package. But most likely, they'll acclimate just fine and they'll like her. And a lot of packages that I've come to realize, they get shipped from California if you're on the West Coast. California is a really big beekeeping area, mostly due to almond pollination. And so there's big companies in California that'll ship out packages. So that's something to consider. If you like your bees to be maybe more regionally based from a local supplier that are maybe more acclimated to, like Western Washington, we're very moist weather and temperature. So there's something to consider as you decide what to buy and how to buy it. They're less likely to have Varroa mites because they don't come with comb. So that's something to consider.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
The comb is where the Varroa is hanging out.
That's where it'll be. If it's there, it'll be there. It could always be on the bees, but that's where Varroa likes to expand from.
Yeah.
So, it's less expensive, more cost effective. Like $125 to $200. However, you don't have that comb that it comes with, so you know you might want to get your frames elsewhere, and those won't come with it. The main difference that I've heard of, because we ourselves are getting nuke hives, is a package. It takes longer to develop, longer to grow, and so if you want a little bit of a wider experience as a beekeeper, and you're not wanting that immediate growth where it's not necessary for you, a package gives you that wider range of experience to see the bees draw the comb out, to see the bees grow at a slower pace than you would with the nuke hive. And that's kind of why I think nukes are maybe run a little bit more expensive as
That
well.
was really informative.
So as you're considering what to buy, when to buy it, through the winter, if you look around online, I've seen a lot of pre-orders. So you can pre-order nukes. Nukes typically come pre-ordered. So that's something you want to consider as you're getting into beekeeping, that you want to buy pre-ordered nukes.
That is not a mouse in the walls. We are in the middle of a
ice.
snowstorm here. In case you don't know this, we are in the middle of a snowstorm. It is snowing like a madman. We probably have got 4 inches of snow since this morning. You can barely walk outside. I actually barely made it down here. But so in the background we can hear some
ice falling,
some
snow.
trees banging. I don't know what it is, but there's a lot going on. But listen, our bees are still alive. And that's what's very important. And so, when I look at it, I think that I want to get the nuke. That's what I want. I want the nuke. That's my personal preference.
Yeah.
I like the small box containing the frames. I like the bees with a laying queen. I like that we've got drawn comb.
Yeah.
I like it's all set up and it's ready to go. I don't want to have the package experience. And I think for a new beekeeper too, you want to make it as simple as you possibly can on yourself. Get set up. Don't learn the bees first. If you want to get packages or split your hives later, then you do that. But in the beginning, you want it to be as simple as you possibly can. Make everything rudimentary. Cut out the learning curve as much as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And then follow a plan. This is one of the things I'm big on. Just follow a plan. Create a roadmap.
Get a checklist.
I love checklists. When am I going to check my hives? What do they got to look like? What am I looking for? How do I identify it? Learn how to identify the queen. Get comfortable with the bees. Get comfortable with the buzzing. Attend bee classes, but start out with something that's easy. Get that nuke, so that you can be as confident as I am and woo any man or woman that you want. I'll just leave it there.
Your confidence bleeds from you.
I'm a champion. I'm a winner.
It worked for Amy. That's what mattered.
Yeah. And listen, obviously you pulled the girl with the mask out of
That's right.
the shot pourer or whatever she was, the drink pourer.
That's right. If you learned anything today, I hope you've learned a little bit about ordering bees. What to look for.
Of all the gin joints in the world, she walked into mine. What movie is that from?
I have no idea.
That's from Casablanca. Oh, Humphrey Bogart.
This little ice storm out here is getting a little crazy.
If you really want to romance,
yes,
your wife, and then you watch Casablanca. Get a nice bottle of wine. Get some cheeses.
We do like some charcuterie.
Cut up some strawberries.
Okay.
Make a little platter. Snuggle up with a warm blanket. Turn the fireplace on. Dim the lights. And watch Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca. Night to remember.
All right. And well, I'll look into that.
I don't know what we're going to do about all that. I don't know if we're going to make that happen. But Ralph, I know that you're not on camera. I know that you're not on your speakerphone tonight. But what do you think? Is that a good date night activity, what I just suggested?
Really, any classic romantic movie, but Casablanca, man, it's really.
It's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Here's looking at you, kid.
That's right.
Well, it's time to land the plane on this show. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Teach
Listen,
Me Bees.
we're trying to culture you before you turn 21.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. If you have any other movie recommendations, feel free to let us know.
Just don't watch The Lion King.
Okay, we got haters in the house.
Listen, I got a new name for it. We're going to call it The Lion Queen.
Okay, I see what you did there. The queen bee. Thank you guys for joining us on Teach Me Bees.
This has been an awesome episode.
Order
Listen,
some
we
bees.
learned a lot about both of our personal lives, which was a lot of fun because I could talk about that forever. That might be more exciting than the bees. We also learned a lot about bees and actually got through our entire topic on
did.
bees.
Thank you guys for listening.
Listen,
watching
check us
this
out.
episode.
Honey for Hope. Check us out. Honey for Hope. That's our bee organization. This is Teach Me Bees. We're live every Thursday. We are here. We are having fun. We'll be back next Thursday. We don't miss. I'm Dave Westcott, your host. Follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere where it's social. Just come and hang out. Follow me. Hope you had fun. If you like this, give us a like, give us a share, and check out Honey for Hope and see what we're doing down there. It's an amazing thing. Say bye to Scott the beekeeper. He needs a back rub and a massage, a little bit of chocolate, and some time with Humphrey Bogart, and he'll be doing all right. Listen, we're bringing this thing in for a landing. Good luck and good night.